Joining us now, Mollie Hemingway with the Federalists. Mollie, you know, ABC, it's good to see you. ABC and NBC calling their new polls a disaster for President Biden. You saw Trump is leading Biden 10 percentage point in the ABC poll. He's tied in the NBC poll. Trump is polling higher with independents. These polls were done after the Trump indictments. And the White House is trying to dismiss the polls today. But this breaking news, Mollie, we want your reaction to this. Now, NBC reports that Hillary Clinton has been warning Joe Biden he will lose if there's a third-party challenger. That person could take away his votes, saying this is pretty blank and concerning. Biden, quote, is worried about those spoilers. What do you think?
Well, there's just a lot there, and a third-party challenge is something that very well could happen in this race. These polls, whether they show Trump and Biden tied in a 2024 matchup or whether they show Trump up by 10 points, they all point to a weak President Biden whose policies are very unpopular. Obviously, the country is suffering through quite a few issues here, from the economy to the border to crime to a failed foreign policy. But I think they also point to something else. When you think about what Democrats have done up and down the East Coast in recent months of indicting their top political opponent, Donald Trump, 91 counts in all these different jurisdictions, and he's beating Biden in the polls. It shows that that strategy of indicting Republicans has backfired horrifically for them. They thought that that would be a good way to win in 2024, and a lot of Americans are saying they find it very disturbing and that they are willing to side with President Trump over and against this unprecedented attack on a political opponent.
Yeah, so, Mollie, what you just said, I mean, you look at the Washington Post ABC poll, 7 out of 10, the U.S. is on the wrong track. Half say that in the NBC poll. And then 6 out of 10 Democrats say no to Biden. They don't want him.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of reason for Democrats to be panicking here, and they do seem to be doing that. You had a couple weeks ago, the Washington Post had multiple pieces basically pleading for Joe Biden to get out of the race, to take Kamala Harris with him because she's even more politically toxic than he is. They're begging other people to think about something that might rescue the situation. But one of the problems is, Joe Biden is not the worst candidate. He does present as a moderate, certainly more than some of their other options. That's a really important thing when you're running a national campaign, to at least pretend that your candidate is a moderate. The policies, you don't see other Democrats coming up with different policies than what Joe Biden has enacted or what Democrats on the Hill have enacted. They're all kind of together on their policies with the border. They intentionally have an open border. That's a shared belief that they have. They did not disagree at all on the economy. They actively work to make inflation as bad as it is. They are reckless in their spending, and that's something that you don't see much dissent, maybe one or two here or there. And they're all pretty unified on their foreign policy as well. So it's unclear what the argument would be for someone else.
It's the media finally waking up. The wake-up call is there, I guess. We've been seeing these polls coming in like this for months. And, the voters are saying, the Trump indictment's not playing at all with them. Watch the media on this and watch the Democrats trying to top spin this. Look at this.
These numbers are simply staggering for the sitting president. 44% of people in this poll say they are not as well off as they were at the start of the Biden administration 2.5 years ago. Those are the worst numbers that we've seen in our ABC News Washington Post polling. The weaknesses that we are seeing for Joe Biden and his approval rating across the board are very real. They are alarming to Democrats, even if no one thinks this is ultimately going to be a 9-point race.
And Kristen, you know this from talking to Republican critics of Trump from rival campaigns. Everything you just explained, they thought would take him down a peg this summer. And instead, he has only moved up here. For Donald Trump there, nothing but good news.
Well, look, we all know the economic pressure that Americans have felt when the president took office. The economy was flat on its back. But we're also getting extraordinary results.
Extraordinary results? How? The economy was not flat on its back. Mollie, Biden inherited a V-shaped recovery. Show the numbers that he inherited. I mean, we've got now rising oil prices, mortgage rates at around 8%, a possible government shutdown, a UAW strike. We've got a busy week ahead. There's stock market volatility coming back in. we've got new home sales coming in. We've got new GDP number for the second quarter, new PCE inflation data Friday. More week by week, we see these economic numbers, and people are always worried if it's a big debate. They've been debating years. Are we in a recession? So the White House narrative here, the Democrat narrative here, is it playing?
Well, Pete Buttigieg may be correct that they've had an extraordinary reaction while they're in the administration, but it's extraordinarily bad. That poll number showing that 44% of Americans say that they are in a worse place economically than they were when President Biden took office, that's the worst showing for any president on record. It's a really significant percentage of Americans who are having trouble buying groceries, who can't sell their homes. This is going to be a major issue in 2024.
Mollie Hemingway, you're terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's bring in retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. He's former Deputy National Security Advisor to former Vice President Pence.